The weight of expectation hung heavier than the fog outside my frostbitten windows. I'd spun my bedpost for hours, mirrored my reflection in a dark window, seeing them still, those same pious faces now painted with the decay of indifference. Theosta's scorn coiled in the air like a live wire. My hands still trembled, but beneath the numbness, something stirred, a relic of protests, a father's limbo, a scientist's regret. They deemed my work ridiculous, a crude abstraction in a world obsessed with sterile metrics, and the lesson was immediate: pursuit of what others called foolish paths would be dismissed. My mother crumpled to her knees, her voice a wet rasp. "You'd be washing murky rivers with your vision." My father sighed, the weight of professional disgrace pressing like a stone in my chest. "They'd engineer your ruins, not yours." The silence in our home thickened until it pressed my eardrums. Years had blurred the ache, yet the bruise endured. Remember how its edges blurred with time. Still, hope flickered like a stubborn plant surviving drought. I moved to a city where neon signs polluted shadows. Until that day the world shifted. Public setbacks stumped them. Cafes buzzed with whispers, stock photos smeared across walls. I'd pennied journals now, chipped like porcelain, until I founded Aurora Biome Asterisk, a clandestine venture merging synthetic moss with reclaimed soil. Their trainers snapped to attention. "No," my friend Lena hissed, arms crossed. "You're wasting time arguing when we could do asterisk." Instead, I offered them compost, irrefutable data on noise reduction. Their cheap invoices dissolved like sugar in rain. Slowly they saw the growth rings of unseen roots repairing cracked pavements. The breakthrough came at midnight. A storm swallowed the city. Rivers flooded beleaguered streets, noise leapfrogged streets. When floodwaters swallowed sight lanes, I stood on a rooftop, listening to the roar outside, wild, organic against concrete. The city, once a husk of concrete, exhaled breath. One evening, a child pranced past, clutching a wilted flower potted behind a dumpster. "Think of it like this," I said, voice hollow. "You're not wrong to hate what thrived when they stopped listening." Then came the reckonings. The Rostov family descended, husbands and daughters flanking me, their faces a mosaic of dread. Through the rain-streaked glass I saw the patterns, the same frown I'd strung generations. The mirror of a boy once burning my lunchy cup on the porch after mockery, their silence covered enough ground as corpses. "We expected failure," told Amara, her voice brittle. I handed them data slides locked in a cabinet, photos of thriving green belts. The room held its breath. Then, a child tugged my sleeve, clutching my new rusted toolkit. "What does it feel like to plant these mosses?" "Does it hurt?" A rasp followed, not from my accusation but from recognition. They saw not a failure but a catalyst. In that moment the disdain sloughed off like grime. Carrying the day's triumph into a sunlit garden, Lena hesitantly placed a hand on my shoulder. "They said you'd fail," she admitted. I met their gaze, no defensiveness there. "Maybe my family was right about one thing," I said softly, "but I've grown roots far beyond yours." The word hung surprisingly in the air. Relief curdled into pride, then dawned, a thing I'd nurtured in solitude. We did it not by defiance but by persistence, and in the end, the rot that enslaved them had once thrived where I'd buried it. Years later, the city's skyline bore canvases where moss clung to concrete, streets pulsed with green-footed life. Rooftops glowed with bioluminescent vines, liquid gold. They called it a miracle. To them, it might have been science cluelessness. To me, it was a reckoning. The family kept their silence, but in their children the lesson survived, not in karma, but in knowing some worth is forged not in spite of judgment, but alongside it. I returned not as a ghost, but as a seed expanding. The air hummed with bees now, not just birds. Victory wasn't loud, but it filled the silence, proof that sometimes the truest scores were earned not by winning, but by a nation finally seeing what their pride had denied them. The moonlit garden whispered what words had flitted around, acknowledgement, and I, though diminished by the weight of the past, had become a bridge, one moss-covered wall, one rebuilt street corner, forged anew by a dream that refused to fade. The hollow walk home turned round where their laughter once haunted, not replacement for the sting, but soil for roots numerical and emotional alike. I carried the lesson beyond completion. Grandeur isn't measured by accolades but by how much walls it has sealed and how much light it can pour back in. Some scars remain, some are erased, but most, not. They lay buried, patient, beneath the surface where new growth thrives.